Hey, party people, Panda Brady here. I just got back from watching Godzilla King of the Monsters, and let me tell you, the reviews are right. It's a lot of action. um, so there have been reviews going around there like, oh, it's awful, there's not enough human conflict, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, this is a Godzilla movie. This is Godzilla. You go for the monster fighting. It is not for the human story in the background. You can just ignore the entire thing, and you'll know a Godzilla film. Oh, that guy doesn't like Godzilla. He attacks. No. But, yeah, so there will be a lot of spoilers in this. So, great movie, first of all. If you're a Godzilla fan, you're going to love it, especially all the little nods and fan service that they have. I'll say I was not expecting the number of kaiju that I saw in the movie. Like, in the trailers, they say Ghidorah, Mothra, Godzilla, and Rodan. There's more, and I wasn't expecting that, so that's pretty awesome. Didn't know that Kong Skull Island is part of the same movie universe, so that's different. But it was a lot of fun. Because I was just sitting there geeking out the whole time. I'm huge Godzilla fan. Big G is definitely a big G. Oh man, old school references. Anyways, so yeah, so Godzilla. I may have something here since there's so much dead space, but maybe not, who knows. I'm not an editor, so but yeah. So it was a heck of a lot of fun. Godzilla shows up and they're all like, "Oh, we've been tracking them." And apparently characters from the first one were all upset, which I barely remember the first one. It was so boring. And then when Godzilla finally gets around, he's only in like 5-10 minutes of the movie. But in this one, oh, they thoroughly made up for that. Godzilla is in a lot of the movie, and if it's not Godzilla, it's one of the other kaiju, and I'm so happy. They renamed the kaiju Titans, which, I mean, it's America. That's all you can say is, America. Don't know if you can. Okay, anyways. But yeah, so they introduced Ghidorah, which they call Monster Zero, which I was very happy about that little shout out. They call him Monster Zero. There's some eco-terrorist going around and kidnaps this female scientist that worked on this orca project, which is supposed to send out noises that originally would keep whales from the shore, but then they redid it so that it would track kaiju and make them like calm. You get to see it in action at the very beginning of the movie, because they use it to calm down larva Mothra. Sorry, I still have my drink. This video not sponsored by Coke. Not sponsored. But yeah, you get to see Mothra get all calm down, and then these eco-terrorists show up and take the scientist and her new little gadget, which is the orca. And apparently he wants to unleash the Titans. Funny enough, Tywin Lannister. Anyways, that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, so the scientist lady is all like, "Oh yeah, I'm totally going to go with you," because they do the old, "Oh, humans are a plague on the planet," and so it releases this fever, this antibody, and that's the awakening of the Titans, and they're going to wipe out a lot of the human race so that they will bring back nature. But the human race won't disappear. That's her thought anyways, is that with the orca, after they've redone the planet, they can make them calm and live together, be subservient to them, basically. And so they wake up Ghidorah, Monster Zero, and there are a lot of times in this movie where I'm like, "You're dead, that guy's dead, she did, but they don't die. And it's like, pretty sure you'd be dead after that. But Ghidorah shows up and starts killing people left and right, and it's just this gruesome imagery of lightning just zapping people. And oh Mothra, I'll get to that. So yeah, Ghidorah shows up, and because the guy from the first one, because this is 5 years later, and their little daughter's grown up to be 11 from, pardon me, from Stranger Things. And the parents are split for some reason, and it's inferred that it's because their son died when Godzilla tore through San Francisco. I didn't care about the human plot. I really didn't. But yeah, they get Godzilla to follow them, because they track where Godzilla's heading, and it's because the orca is being used or something like that. So they show up, the eco-terrorists and the female scientist unleash Ghidorah, which is the worst plan you can have. It's King Ghidorah, for crying out loud. They didn't know. And so, yeah, Ghidorah shows up, starts killing people, and then right before the main cast gets vaporized, Godzilla shows up, tackles him, and has a small little fight. And then they end up breaking off, and the humans leave, and eventually Ghidorah takes off, and it turns out that he's so powerful he causes a tropical storm around him, which is crazy. Which, yeah, if something like that size could exist, maybe that would happen, but yeah, anyways. But yeah, apparently he's going to where the eco-terrorists are, and they're trying to awaken each of the Titans one at a time, so that they eventually awaken and heal the planet, and then they can, yeah. So yeah, the Ghidorah goes to where Rodan is, which is inside a volcano in Mexico. And Godzilla shows up, and the humans see Rodan wake up, and they try to fight him off to keep this little village from dying, because Rodan, Ghidorah, and Godzilla are all converging, and Rodan's still in his volcano. And eventually they get Rodan to follow them, and he's so big, so fast, that he causes a huge sonic boom that just wipes out most of the town. And again, another part where I was like, that's not how that works. You're dead, you're dead, you're dead. But, yeah, and, so Rodan flies into this storm that's coming to him, which is Ghidorah, and the humans are in between the two, trying to lead Rodan to Ghidorah, and Rodan just kind of like, nope's out of there. And the humans almost run into Ghidorah. Ghidorah's about to kill them, and Godzilla pulls Ghidorah underwater, and then suddenly the military's like, hey, humans that are already there, you might want to leave. We just launched a weapon called the Oxygen Destroyer, and if you know about that in Godzilla, yes, please, I want to see Destroyer in this new version. But, so the Oxygen Destroyer goes, blows up, and they accidentally wound Godzilla almost mortally. They lose his vitals, because they've got this whole thing where they can track his vitals now for some reason. And Ghidorah comes out. Oh, and he lost a head, by the way, which Godzilla tore off. But because Ghidorah doesn't need oxygen to live, it just killed Godzilla and most of the fish in the area. And Ghidorah comes out missing a head, and he's just like, dang it, not again. And Ghidorah's like, yes, I win. I'm the apex. Now, all kaiju of the world, wake up and come to me. We're a pack now. And so the humans are like, oh crap, we just killed our best way to get rid of Ghidorah. What do we do? Well, actually, it turns out Godzilla's still alive, because here comes fully grown Mothra calling for Godzilla, and apparently that wakes Godzilla up enough, and they're like, oh, he's alive but super injured. Where is he? Track him. And then they find out it's hollow earth theory, where there are tunnels. And Godzilla's at this temple where he's absorbing radiation from the planet, and they're all like, oh no, that's going to take forever for him to build up enough energy to go back out there and fight Ghidorah. Let's kickstart this. Yeah, we'll launch a nuclear torpedo at him. That's a great idea. Oh, nope, sorry, our weapons got damaged because we got pulled into a vortex and they won't launch. And then Japanese guy from the first one that says, let them fight. He's like, I will do it. Allow me. And so he goes into this very, they say it's extremely hot. He should be fried by not only the heat, but the radiation of the area. Takes this nuclear bomb, goes up to Godzilla, sets it for a minute, walks over to Godzilla, and he's like, goodbye, my old friend. Boom! Giant nuclear explosion, jump starts Godzilla, and Godzilla takes off towards Ghidorah, who is being... One sec. Okay, so I want to finish this up real quick. So the scientist's daughter escapes with the orca and goes to Fenway Park because they're in Boston for some reason. Apparently she used to live there. And she plays the orca over the loudspeaker by using Godzilla and human noises for some reason. It makes Godzilla and Ghidorah think that there's another apex out there that they want to fight. So they both converge on the place, and Ghidorah shows up first and destroys the speaker, and he's all like, oh, hey, there's a person in there. I better zap her. Blah. But she manages to dodge the, it's electricity now, instead of the gravity beams that normally is. But hey, it's whatever. Because, it didn't really work like gravity beams. Eventually... Godzilla shows up and starts fighting Ghidorah, and during the fight, because Ghidorah is calling all the shots with the other kaiju, Rodan shows up, and Mothra also shows up. Mothra shows up to help against Ghidorah first, and then after pretty much kicking Ghidorah's butt for a little bit, Rodan swoops in and starts fighting Mothra. And then they get into a big aerial battle. While all this is going on, the female scientist decides to finally leave the eco-terrorists to go save the daughter. And the eco-terrorists are like, no, you're not going anywhere. You're not taking my men, blah, blah, blah. Pulls a gun. Yes, I am. I'm going to save my daughter. Okay, well, fine. Let her go. Jeez, it's not that big a deal. So, she goes to save them, and the husband... scientist guy is showing up also, and on their way there, they're like, no, we're not going to let them fight, we're going to join the fight. Yeah, we're gonna shoot missiles at Ghidorah and get him all, confused so that Godzilla can get him real good. Yeah. And they fire some missiles, and then when Mothra shows up, they just kind of disappear. Mostly because, it's too dangerous at that point, and Godzilla apparently got too much radiation from the nuke, to the point where they decide to do the burning Godzilla thing now, instead of in the Destroya movie. So he's going nuclear slowly, and during the fight he gets pinned, and Rodan gets defeated. by having Mothra stab into its chest, and I'm guessing it wasn't a fatal stab because Rodan shows up later, but that's a whole nother thing. Think maybe it was just like paralysis poison. But, so Mothra's wings are all charred up from the fight with Rodan. Godzilla's on the ground. Ghidorah's about to kill Godzilla. And Mothra's like, no, you're not going to hurt my friend. And just poof, gets zapped by all three heads. And you see her just go, whoosh, dust falls on Godzilla. It's like, aw, poor Mothra. Well, I guess that works out, because, like, in regular Godzilla, that Mothra usually has 2 baby Mothras. And, do I have something in my hair? Oh, no, that's just gray. So, yeah, that Mothra has 2 baby Mothras, but not in this movie, as far as we know. After that, the humans, after they're all running away, because they're like, okay, Godzilla's about to blow in like 6 minutes, we need to do something. And so the female scientist and the guy scientist finally get back together, and they're like, let's fix this and help out. And they're like, yeah, we can do this, we can help. They fix the orca, they start to get into the helicopter to leave, and then the female scientist is like, no, I have to sacrifice myself. Jumps in a car, starts driving down the road, and Ghidorah's just like, now what? Okay, let me go kill this thing. Zap, zap, bleh. And flips the car, and is about to kill her with 3 giant blasts, and then suddenly, boof! Oh, what was that? Huh? Godzilla, you're still up? Godzilla is now burning Godzilla to the point where he's just walking slowly, and metal is melting around him, and it's an awesome, awesome sequence. And Ghidorah's just like, bleh. And Godzilla's just like, nope, I'm gonna get you. You better start running. And the beams aren't doing anything, and then he releases a nuclear pulse, and Ghidorah's wings get all charred, and he's like, my wings. I forgot to mention earlier, turns out one of that head that got torn off regenerated. So, yeah, apparently Ghidorah can do that. I mean, he could in the originals, but not as fast as they show in this one. So yeah, the nuclear pulse, like, rips up Ghidorah's wings. He's like, oh no, I can't fly, and they won't regenerate because they're all burned up. And then starts trying to attack Godzilla again with more beams, and he releases another pulse. Both of his left and right heads, well, I mean, his left and right head, burn up and get disintegrated, and he's left with just his middle head, and then he's like, meh, and Godzilla just topples him over, foot on his chest, and you see a huge explosion. It's like, oh, that's awesome. Did that kill Godzilla? Did that kill Ghidorah? Obviously, the female scientist is dead by this point, but they never show it. So, I don't know, they could do the whole thing where it's like, oh, she comes back because Alien X, the Alien X race picked her up and brainwashed her, and now she's the pilot behind Mecha Ghidorah. But I mean, that's later down the line. I have no clue if that's true or not. I'm sure I'll cut that out. But yeah. So, and then the rubble starts to move, and you see a shape, and it's Ghidorah's head, and you're like, oh, Ghidorah survived? What? And then, as the rubble moves some more, you see Godzilla just lift the severed head of Ghidorah in his mouth and just swings it around, bats it on the ground a couple of times, and Ghidorah's head is still alive at this point. It's just like, please, no, I'm already dead. And Godzilla's like, omae wa mou shinderu. He just atomic breaths through the head and disintegrates it. And then he does his classic roar because he's like the best now. But not quite yet, because all the kaiju that have been awakened by Ghidorah start to circle Godzilla, and Godzilla's just standing there and looking at them all. He sees Rodan, and he's like, and Rodan's like, I'm sorry. And then they all start bowing to Godzilla, and Godzilla's like, yeah, I can't do the roar, but yeah. He does his famous roar, and you see the people just looking out of the back of their helicopter, and they're like, whoa. And then credits roll. And there's a lot of news clippings and stuff like that it hints at Monster Island, it hints at Godzilla versus King Kong, which could be cool if they do it right, because I doubt they're going to kill off Godzilla this soon. Especially in this one. Unless they kill him off and then do the thing where it's like, oh, that Godzilla died and they use his bones to make Mecha Godzilla because baby Godzilla grew up. Kiryu and all that. Tokyo SOS. Mecha Godzilla 3. But yeah, and it's really, really good. I suggest anybody that's a fan of kaiju movies or Godzilla, go watch it, because it actually feels like a Godzilla movie this time. There's the human plot, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. And then there's the monsters, and it's just such a treat to see them on screen fighting this huge fight, and just all the little details. Is really good. I hope anyone that watched this, go watch it. Leave below in the comments how you felt about it. Because, I mean, I am biased. I've been a Godzilla fan since I was, like, that tall. Like, as far back as I can remember, I've been a Godzilla fan. And I was so stoked as I sat there and watched this movie. And when they brought up Oxygen Destroyer, I was like, are we going to get Destroyer? Oh, that's going to be so good. But there is an in-credit scene. I'll let you guys see it. I'm not going to spoil it here. But there is an in-credit scene. Doesn't add much. It's just a little like, oh, hey, here's, stuff that we can do for the sequel. Which, I mean, I'm not going to give it away, but I think I know what they're going to do. So, without further ado, like and share if you enjoyed. Subscribe, become part of the Panda Party, because there ain't no party like Panda Party, because Panda Party don't stop. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to party on and party hard.